Looks like everybody's here. So it's 5:31. I'd like to call this meeting to order. If you'd all please rise to the invocation. Dear Lord, we ask that you bless each and every one of us in these very trying times, not only in Bonita Springs, the state of Florida, the United States, but around the world. We are in the middle of a pandemic like we have never seen. And Lord, our faith in you in these trying times is as important as ever. We lift you up, we praise your name, and we ask and we know that you will be with each and every one of us during these trying times. God bless. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Well, greetings, everybody. I think this is certainly a first for Bonita Springs, and I want to thank our team and our staff for making this possible and everybody on City Council. I'd like to welcome two new members of City Council with us tonight, Jesse Purdon in District 2 and Chris Corey in District 4. We're excited that you're with us. We are now a team of 7 once again and look forward to doing great things for our city. If we could start with the roll call, please.
Councilwoman Carumba.
Present.
Councilman Purdon.
Here.
Councilwoman Carr. Mayor Simmons.
Here. Councilman
Corey.
Here.
Councilman Gibson.
Here.
Councilman Forbes.
Here.
Okay, Arlene, I'm going to defer to you right now for some quick updates or take as much time as you need.
Is the audio horrible to everybody, or is it just me?
Yes, I think everybody has to mute their things because you can't hear anything anybody's saying.
Audio's
Only
horrible.
if you're speaking, I guess, be unmuted. If you're not speaking, please mute.
Including the staff.
That's way better.
That is a lot better. So thank you. Arlene?
Yes, Mayor. Pursuant to Executive Order Number 2069, issued by the Office of Governor Ron DeSantis on March 20th, 2020, municipalities may conduct meetings of their governing boards without having a quorum and its members present physically or at any specific location. So we're utilizing this format as well. COVID-19 is presenting some real-time challenges and safety issues for our city, and we continue to monitor these issues. New directives are actively being received from both the White House administration and the governor's office, as we've seen today. We are working diligently to address these concerns and allied our efforts. We are taking all precautions necessary and proactively to protect the health and safety of our community. We are dedicated to this process, and so of which we've decided to hold this as a virtual meeting in the best interest of our community. The City of Bonita Springs is using Zoom to hold this April 1st meeting, virtual City Council meeting. Zoom is a cloud platform for video and audio conferencing. It allows collaborations, chat, webinars across mobile devices, desktops, telephones, and room systems. Additionally, the city has not selected a virtual platform that requires the public to purchase or download any additional software or equipment to watch our meetings. Aside from the Zoom platform and that the public participants will be appearing remotely, the public will have no discernible difference in their ability to watch this meeting. As Laura will go through, I'll ask her to update you all. We've provided multiple platforms for public comment, including in a dedicated email address for public comment, which will receive till 10 a.m. today. And she'll go through the process of how you can receive public comment during your virtual meeting.
Okay, in order to ensure the public has the ability to view the meeting, the city's communications department will broadcast the meeting through all the usual channels and avenues that are provided. When a city council
Laura,
meeting-
I think Arlene needs to mute, or somebody has to mute.
Can you hear me or not?
Laura, we can't
Lori,
hear you. I
yours
just
is pretty
I can
scrambled.
hear you guys, but all of a sudden it got static again. So I was just thinking that maybe you didn't put your mute button. If you're not speaking, mute goes on.
Mute yours for a second, Laura. All right, it went away, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Laura's the weakest
Yeah,
link.
I think there was an issue with our audio.
Yeah, Laura just jumped out. She's going to jump back in.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So do I do anything? Hello?
No, she'll come back on in a second.
Okay. Here,
Not
She's
you, Laura, the other
she's going to
Laura.
rejoin the meeting. She's
I'm
going to
here.
rejoin the meeting.
I'm here. Okay, so I'm gonna hit mute, correct?
Fine.
Yes, please. Yes.
Call back. Does it sound better? Can you guys
Yes,
hear me
it's
now?
better.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
better,
much
Laura.
better.
Okay, so so basically, we are broadcasting on the usual channels and avenues that are provided when a city council meeting is held fully in city council chambers at City Hall. The meeting can be viewed live on Bonita TV. As far as public comment goes, the city has developed new methods of ensuring public comment for a virtual meeting. It has established 2 new options. The city has asked the public to send in public comments via email to citymeetings@cityofbonitasprings.org. Those comments have been provided to council prior to this meeting and will be included in the record. The city has also opened Vimeo chat to allow the public to participate in electronic public comment via chat. We will limit the comment to 1 comment per person. I will read the virtual chat comments into the record. All the comments received will be included in the public record of the meeting, and the public may submit their comments with either option. Okay. Derek, would you like to go now?
Thank you. The 2 public comment options that Laura just went through are established for our city council meeting, do comply with Chapter 286 and Chapter 120 Florida statutes, which is what we're going to be operating under given the conditions. As she already pointed out, the public had an opportunity to provide written comments ahead of time. Those comments were, if you went to the city website, were incorporated into the agenda so that the rest of the public may also see those comments. Any public comments that could not be submitted earlier, we will use through the Vimeo system to be allowed to have that chat option for the public to participate live when agenda items come up. When the city council members are ready to consider public comments, we will ask that in addressing the city commission, that the public who's listening hopefully will type in their name and their address first, as they would if they were in public at a meeting, and then what item they would like to speak on. Thank you.
So Mayor and Council, as long as you are comfortable with the provisions that we've provided set forth for this visual meeting, I would respectfully ask the mayor to ask for a motion to approve us to move forward with these proceedings.
I'd make a motion to proceed with these proceedings.
Second. Unmute, Mr. Mayor.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
There
Yeah,
you
we
go.
can.
Okay, there's been a motion to accept what Derek outlined for the provisions of public comment. There's been a motion and a second. Is there further discussion, council? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Carumba,
Aye.
Councilman Purdon,
Aye.
Councilwoman Carr,
Aye.
Mayor Simmons,
Aye.
Councilman Corey,
Aye.
Councilman Gibson,
Aye.
Councilman Forbes.
Aye.
Okay, thank you, everybody. We are now, we did receive, I know at least two public written comments ahead of time. Those will not be read into the record, but they will be part of the permanent record of the meeting and will be entered into the official minutes. Now going to move on to the consent agenda. Council, what is your pleasure on the consent agenda?
So move without, with a comment in regard to the good bread item.
Second.
Yeah,
Okay.
got to mute.
There's been a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. And then we will have comments afterwards.
Correct.
Further discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman Purdon,
Aye.
Councilwoman Carr,
Aye.
Mayor Simmons,
Aye.
Councilman Corey, Councilman Gibson,
Aye.
Councilman Forbes,
Aye.
Councilwoman Carumba.
Aye.
Okay, Amy, you had a comment?
I just want to say that I'm very pleased to see that on the agenda. I think this is an area that many of us have been concerned about it, and I really would like to make progress on that so that we can improve the area downtown. And I'm just very pleased that we have it there. So thank you for the efforts that was made by staff to bring this to our attention and the potential that we could get some help with the redesign and the improvements there.
Wonderful. Any other members of council have public comment or comment, excuse me, on the consent agenda?
Yeah, on A, approving the election. Just want to say congratulations to Jesse and Chris, and welcome to City Council.
Absolutely.
Ditto.
Okay, wonderful. Anybody else for comments? Okay, we are going to move on. I guess at this point, there's no proclamations or presentations. There's no mayor or council member items. Has any public comment been typed in at this point?
Laura, you're muted.
All right, there is no public comment being typed into the chat at this point.
There is?
There is none.
There is none. Okay, and Amy, you raised your hand. I apologize.
No, I was just saying she had to unmute because I couldn't hear
Oh,
her,
okay.
but she corrected that.
Okay, so I guess we don't, thank you, Amy. I guess we don't have public comment at this time. So we're going to move on to the city attorney's report.
I don't have anything to cover separately than what Arlene will be giving you as far as the emergency management updates.
Okay, and I guess if I have any questions on Derek, I'll hold them for now for you.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. City managers items, Arlene.
Mayor, this is a fluid situation which updates occurring frequently, and the city remains in close communication with our federal.
Your audio is horrible.
Yeah.
You have to log off and call back, jump back on the link. It usually helps it.
Okay.
I'm gonna head down to her office. I'll be right.
Okay. Hey, Derek, while we're waiting for a minute, I
Please,
did
anything.
have a comment. I'm sure some other people have received some questions as to what this order by Governor DeSantis means for practical purposes. Can you kind of break it down in some simple layman's term and for the people that like to fish on their boat? Can they still?
You know, that the fishing question came up to me earlier today. I have not seen an exclusion for fishing. However, so the basic premise is there is an order for anyone 65 or older and anyone who would be in a special circumstances group to stay indoors, as well as a general order to close all non-essential businesses and to limit travel to those essential businesses, which generally has been evolving list coming from originally from Miami-Dade County and some of the other counties adopted. The governor has authorized other state officials to supplement and add to that list as it goes forward. There is exemptions for participating in recreational activities. My guess is that given the broad language of that list, which includes hiking, fishing, hunting, that, you know, taking your family out on your boat, as long as you're not heading to the sandbar to congregate with others, is probably still authorized at this point. There hasn't been any additional guidance on that.
Okay, well, good. So fishermen can carry on.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you. Arlene, thank you, Derek.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, Laura, I'm sorry, Councilwoman.
No, well, I'll ask Derek when Arlene's finished. Thanks.
Okay. Arlene, I apologize. Welcome back.
Thank you. So as we continue direct communications with both federal, state, and local officials, we are also daily coordinating with the Lee County EOC and aligning our efforts in multiple calls with our local jurisdictions, including all of our adjacent municipalities and Lee County. Mitigation efforts have been implemented citywide, including the closure of many city facilities to the public and the implementation of a no contact policy at City Hall and community development. We are continuing city operations via phone, email. All non-essential meetings have been postponed until further notice. We do remain under the local state of emergency, and our mayor has come in every Tuesday to realign that resolution. This will help in making us eligible for future funding, federal, state, and local opportunities as they become available. We have been working closely with the Lee County Sheriff's Office and the Bonita Springs Fire Control and Rescue District and are working to ensure public safety is maintained. We have done a lot of outreach to our local businesses to make sure they're completely aware of the new emerging executive orders, providing counseling and education. Our Lee County Sheriff's Office and our Neighborhood Services Department have been out regularly to our beaches to continue to provide education. The health and safety of our community still remains our top priority, and we encourage everyone to adhere to the governor's stay-at-home order, which was issued earlier today. We have updated information regularly on the city's website, and for more information, you can always go to the www.cityofbonitasprings.org. We will relist all of the information provided by Lee County, as well as the state of Florida, with regular updates.
Okay.
The only other item, Mayor, I wanted to address is that we have postponed our bids at this time for bid openings. We'll be working with Derek on how to address the public bid opening issue. I would like to tell the council we will be postponing the April 14th due date of Imperial Crossing. That is our property in downtown. For 1 month, the new due date will be May 15th.
Great. Thank you, Arlene. Laura, Councilwoman Carr, did you have a question or a comment?
Oh, I do. Well, one, is there any support for such a measure? And is there even a possibility that as a community, we could ask for an exception from Governor DeSantis so that we could ask our local experts and rely on our local statistics and make decisions based on our local citizens rather than Miami-Dade or Tampa? So
at this time, there doesn't seem to be any option to opt out. The order explicitly states that any contravening order is nullified. So unless the governor at some point in the future provides a path forward for local municipalities or counties to begin opting out, at this time, we cannot, opt out. I know there was some discussion in some communities where counties were looking to enforce their own orders and cities have the opportunity to opt out. This is not a situation that has been authorized at this point.
So we can't even ask on an emergency basis for an exception before the
I'm
Friday.
certain you could ask, but you would probably be pushed back with, you'd already have to have the data in hand to request that.
No, the data is available. The data is available. Our local medical leaders are not asking for, major assistance. Our community is going by the outlined social distance and other behaviors. I mean, merchants are doing everything according to the new guidelines, and now we're going to penalize them on top of this. I mean, our community is following the rules. I think that we could possibly ask, no? Is it? All right, well, no is no. I don't know what more you want me to say. This is sort of, so we move on, okay?
Thank you, Laura. Amy, we'll have a discussion on this. Amy and then Chris on deck.
I would like to have a clarification on what they call essential services, because there are all kinds of lists that are going around, and it's not clear to me in the wording what is included and not included. So I think Derek should provide that, because that's what our businesses are going to be asking.
We can provide a list of those they're all referenced in the order, but they will be a changing list. So whatever we can provide, we can put them up on our website. It'll be something that's going to be an evolving issue. So we'll have to note that.
I mean, an obvious one is the golf courses, which they talk about recreation, but that wasn't specifically mentioned, though it had been mentioned in previous kinds of things. But I think there are other things like that may or may not be essential services. Recreational services are considered essential services, but it doesn't tell you what recreational services. And I think anyone that would lead to gatherings of more than 10 or even more than 5 probably should be eliminated. But I think there are lots of things that
the order specifies that recreational activities are exempt, not recreational services. So, I did do just a search to see if there was right now anything about golf courses. There's no mention of it in the order, positive or negative.
Well, I read the same thing. That's why I'm asking, I think. And if there are any other things that I think we should just clarify that list, because that's what our businesses are going to ask us. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Chris, Laura, and then Jesse on double deck. Councilman Corey. I think you need to unmute, Chris. I'm sorry.
I was going to say the governor's executive orders, I read it, indicated they were going to come out with a list of essential services and activities later on today. I don't know if exactly when that's going to be published, but I think we should be alert to that. The one concern I have is that this thing is this whole response to the virus seems to continue to morph every day. And I just wonder if, as council for the city and being in a leadership role, trying to get information out to our citizens and businesses, if we ought not to consider going to a special meeting covering the virus, covering the city's response to the virus, covering new information. I mean, it's been mentioned that we're at war with this thing. It would seem to me, if we're at war, that perhaps we ought to go to at least a weekly meeting in weeks where we don't have a regularly scheduled council meeting, but weekly meetings with just this one topic, so that we can take the opportunity to explain to people, such as this, what's essential services, what are covered activities, and try to answer questions people may have and businesses may have about how this impacts them. So those are my comments on this whole thing.
No, and Chris, and I like that idea. And sometimes you think you never forget, but after Hurricane Irma, I know we had Arlene, maybe you can help me here a little bit, but I know we had extended coverage, extended meetings. And we did, Laura, I know we did a lot of video updates. We certainly have done some video updates here, but Chris, I concur that some extra meetings would be warranted or could be warranted, you know, rather than every other week, just do them every Wednesday or whatever we decide to do. And
I agree. I think that the president has said the next 2 or 3 weeks are going to be very difficult.
Right.
And I think that would be a reasonable response on our part,
right,
is to hold weekly meetings.
Right. No, thank you for that, Chris. I think it's a great idea. Laura, and then Jesse, you're on deck.
Well, I disagree with the weekly meetings. This has been a bit difficult, and the feedback I'm getting is that it's very funny to watch. Let's see, we look ridiculous. Nobody can follow the conversation, but we're not gonna, if we're gonna have weekly meetings, we need to have something to contribute to the conversation. And we're not gonna do anything, we're shutting down. So what are we gonna do? Have a weekly meeting, get everybody spun to get signed on, and then discuss what? You can or you can't go golfing? That will be very clear. Laura Taylor does a fabulous job with updating us as council, us as this community, and our website is up to date. So what are we going to tell people when we meet? That's what I'd like to know.
Great. Thank you, Laura. Jesse.
My comment is more to Rooney. And it's just my basic understanding of this. And I just want you to understand what I understand. And then maybe when you give your summary, hopefully we're kind of all around the same page, and maybe some people feel the same way or understand it how I do. And if I'm completely off base on anything, please tell me, because I've been talking to a lot of people on it. So the short version is all non-essential businesses will not be operational until this is over. There's a long list of what's considered essential. As far as people individually, we're going to stay at home unless we are doing some of the activities that are listed before, and all of the essential businesses are on the executive order. And furthermore, the change here really is that many could still operate before, assuming that there were no more than 10 and that they were exercising appropriate social distancing. Now the difference is they cannot operate unless they're on that list. That's my understanding of this, but I just wanted to make sure that I was on the right page. So I just wanted to get that out.
Sure. The order came out just after noon, so it's possible it'll get clarified further, but your understanding appears to be basically correct. The order applies to essentially what it seems to make a distinction is those who are 65 or older or underlying medical conditions are required to stay at home, and everyone else is required to stay at home except for those times that they are either performing essential services. So if they're required to leave home in order to, they're in one of the listed essential service industries, or they are going out to procure essential services. So you're going to the supermarket, you are a post office worker. That's the way at this time it appears. That may change as far as getting information out to the residents. I think what we want to do, and sort of along the lines of Councilwoman Carr, is to link through. Hopefully the state and the feds will provide us with a more concise listing than what they sort of put together in the executive order, which was to photocopy a number of federal documents and then pass them along, so that we are not providing the non-updated list. So the easier we can get the exact list of information as it comes out, we may need to reformat it if that makes it easier, but I think we need to pass it along as soon as possible, and direct linking is probably the best way to do so.
But it does state that you can do takeout. My understanding is that you can do takeout, and those businesses can continue to serve because they're providing essential needs, food.
Correct, food. So those people who are working in for those fields, yes, that would be appropriate. Or if you're going to procure food, that would all you to take out.
And additionally, it's a large list. It's not just restaurants. There's If you look at the end of the executive order, it's really a massive amount of things that you wouldn't really consider, but construction, restaurants, all kinds of stuff. So
Yeah.
Fred, did you have anything to add? Unmute, Fred.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes. We can hear you, Fred.
Not
Go
working.
ahead.
I'll email Arlene and she can give you my comments.
Okay.
No, not working.
Fred, I can hear you, Fred.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. What I'd like to propose is once Derek has a better handle on the list of what is essential and non-essential, that not only you put on the website, but let Laura blast it out to that big email list we have.
Here's what
Other than
I'm
that,
gonna
I think also if we did have a weekly meeting, the main focus would be to have people give the people in Bonita statistics on what's going on, how many new cases we have, all that stuff that may be on other websites, but people sometimes don't go there. I think that would be welcomed by all of the residents. Would require very little input by us. We may make comments.
Right.
That's it.
Chris and then Amy.
Okay.
And could I get on?
Unmute again, Chris. Sorry. Hit the unmute button.
All right. Do you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. The other thing we could do at those meetings is to invite in some of the medical professionals from Lee Health or NCH to give us an update on their views as to where we stand in with respect to the virus. Are we flattening the curve? Is the line still going up? What's their view of it, so that we have a perspective on how bad it is getting and it is likely to get. I think that would be good, not only for the council to know, but also those that view our streaming of the council meeting. So that's one thing we could do as well.
Right. Thank you, Chris. Great idea. Amy?
I also think it would be helpful if the staff summarize some of the efforts they've made to help people with this previous order of elderly people staying in their homes, or concerns that have been expressed about the use of the beaches and things that are happening in the grocery stores. The staff has been very active. We've been getting emails from that, but I'm not sure everybody monitors our emails about what the city has been doing. I think that's good to reinforce that, because people want to know that the city is working to comply with these orders and to do what we can to protect our citizens, not only personally, but through the operation of the city. I think that our people probably don't know what we have been doing. So I think there are many reasons to have these kinds of updates. They don't have to be long. We can get the system down a little bit better than we have, and we don't even have to talk. We just have to be there and have these kinds of reports given to us, and we could, if we want to ask questions, we can. But I do think it's important for the people to know that we're here. We're not sitting, even though we're sitting in our homes, we're working. And the staff, even though they're not at City Hall, they're working. The communication that we got today from Ann Wright, who's looking at some revenue side of the business of the city. I think that will be reassuring, because we are going to come out at the other end. And I think people want to know we're not going to go into a black hole. So I think there are many reasons to have these kinds of informational meetings, because they're not going to review all the stuff that we do.
No, very good. Jesse?
Just for the other council members, something to consider. I reached out to all my HOAs members, presidents, leadership, bottom line, and I did I essentially, between the two emails that we get nightly, you know, the one from Lee Health and the one from the state, essentially I picked the important numbers, put them in there, and I sent those out. And the reason was, instead of getting, you know, I don't know about you guys, but I get messages all day long from people all over the city. Right. But this way, if we get a couple people like who are HOA presidents who have access to numerous people, they disseminate that information, and then you have a lot less people who are worried or wondering what's going on. So I just did it last week, right after I was sworn in. So just a thought, if you guys might want to consider it. It's just, you know, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying it seemed to get positive feedback from me, so something to consider.
Laura is supposed to have a similar list for the entire city. That's part of the emergency contact information that they worked on. I don't know. I think she was like 75 or 80% done, where she had contact to every HOA throughout the city, but we might check with Laura and see if she could send something. You know, again, she could just send it out to HOAs instead of sending out a blast email, because they are in the leadership position to their neighborhood. So that's a very good suggestion. Jesse, I have those same similar contacts with District 1, but I'm not sure that everybody has those. But I think Laura, as part of our emergency response, was accumulating that kind of contact information. Thank you for that suggestion.
Thank you. Laura, did you have something?
That's okay. It was a while ago, and I too have been sending out since this began. I might be missing some of the HOAs, so I'll definitely check with Laura Taylor, who will help all of us contact the HOAs. So we can also add a personal note of if anyone needs any assistance. Again, 211 is a safe and helpful line, as are we, as you know, serving you, the people. We are helping. So just let us know you need help, though. So that's all. Thanks.
Now, thank you, Laura, for that. And I'll just add, it's one of these things where I'm on daily conference calls, Saturday and Sunday included, with area mayors, sometimes statewide mayors, talking through this with obviously leadership, Lee County, state senators, state representatives. And we're being told, don't come to a press conference. The sheriff had one last week. We were told not to come to the Lee County meetings. We're told to practice what we preach, stay home, stay in place, stay safe. Yet, if I'm not at a press conference or I'm not at a Lee County meeting, I hear about it. So I'm fine. I mean, I'll just take that for what it's worth. But my only point is, I don't think there's any such thing as too much information or too much communication. But because I'm not driving to the Lee County courthouse, ordered not to go there, and now we're where we are now, I think the more people can see us, the more they can hear us, rather than 17 scattered emails. Maybe we can, you know, get, like Jesse said, and I think Amy said, and Chris and some others, Laura, get the vital statistics, get the important numbers, it's all important, but I'm just saying, somehow if we can boil it down, so we're not sending 30-page documents and 20-page documents, but whatever that looks like, I'm game, I'm all in. Mike, did you have anything?
Sorry, wrong button. No, I'm good, thanks.
Okay.
Sorry about having to jump away. I'm still at work, so people keep coming to the door.
No, that's okay. That's a-okay. Anybody, council or anybody else, anything to add at this point? Okay, we're gonna move on to council member items, reports. District 1, Amy Carumba.
Obviously, I haven't been anywhere. I just have a list of things that are mainly thank yous and recognition of all the effort that's being done, not only within the city, but all over the state and the county. First of all, I want to recognize all the healthcare workers who are there daily doing a really tough job that's only going to get more difficult. I also want to recognize all the first responders who are put in these stressful situations. I also would like to thank all our city residents who are heeding the call to stay shelter in place and to stay home, wash your hands, and not touch your face. That's what we're doing in our community, and I so appreciate that's done, and I know it's being done all over the city. And we encourage people to continue those great efforts, and the reason why things are not worse than they are is because we are doing that, and I appreciate every one of you that has taken the initiative to do that. I also want to recognize the staff because I know how hard it's been for them to convert to this electronic means of communication, and you know we're at the beginning parts of that, but it's only going to get better. And I do think that we might want to reach out to our care agencies to because many people have asked me, what can they do? How can they help people that are in need? And if we could get our care agencies together to give us a list of either besides donations or some mechanism by which individuals can help with what's going to come down for many of our people facing furloughs and everything, that would be helpful, because I give them just the name of the care agency they know, but there might be some special kind of thing that they might want us to get involved with, sort of get like a help support needed list if that's possible. I do think that for our staff, that it might, again, to continue the clarification that we're trying to do, that we should have just a link on our website that goes to these kinds of information, this kind of information that we've been talking about, like how to get, like for example, how to get a loan, how to get, what is the link to get the unemployment that is supposed to come through from the federal government, and again, how to connect with our care agencies. And again, my last comment was just to welcome our new council members who are really coming on at a time that is hard. And we appreciate the effort that you've made to be elected and the effort that you're going to make to get up to speed immediately and to be with us in unity as we get through this very tough time. That's
Great.
it.
Thank you, Amy. District 2, Jesse Purden.
Along the same lines as Amy, I got to give a shout out to our staff. I actually, the day before I was sworn in, Rooney met with me for about 2 hours. Arlene has met with me, God knows, probably more than she's wanted to. Laura, and I are in email way more than she probably likes to, but they're very in tune with what's going on, and it's a helpful thing for me because I have people who are not even in Bonita, but everywhere, that are reaching out and asking me what's going on. And I simply pass it on to them and they give me the answers. And it's very, you're not always recognized, but really you guys are the ones who keep everything moving. And I want you to know that I really do appreciate it. And as far as my fellow council members go, this is not how I envisioned my first city council meeting, but let me just say, I really do look forward to working with you. I know all of you. I think you all have great hearts for our community, and I really do look forward to, just moving forward and working well with all of you. I do have one thing that I just kind of wanted to put out there as something I might, I'm open to staff looking into it or, your thoughts on it, but I would like to start something that would be a distinguished public service award on a monthly basis that would recognize, the Bonita Springs Fire Department, the Leos that are in our substation, and the city staff. So we could rotate between the three. And the people that I'm thinking of are like, for example, think of the amount that we got in federal loans that we got through the staff in grants that we've never gotten before. We're talking millions, $29 million, I think, in grants. That's never happened. That type of thing should be recognized because that's a true service to our budget and the things that we're trying to get done. The firefighters are doing awesome things every day. So are the police, and it's kind of a feel good type of thing. And right now I think we could use something like that. So I don't know if staff would like to look into how we could start that, but that's something I've kind of been thinking about. So that's all I've got. Thanks, guys.
Great. Thank you, Jesse. Welcome. District 3, Councilwoman Laura Carr. Hello, Laura.
Hi. Welcome, Chris and Jesse, to council. And I want to thank the staff. They've been phenomenal, and I know that they'll continue to be phenomenal. And our citizens have been amazing. In my district, a lot of the homeowners associations have their own volunteer line to help their communities, and they reach out to friends and family around town. But I guess I just want sanity to return. I believe this is an overreaction. I'm sorry, but we are told to cower in place. Americans are just not cowards. You know, the difference between C-19 and the flu is we have a vaccination for the flu, right? This is a very, very serious, very, very contagious, dangerous cold. But if you follow the rules, it's okay. So I just look forward to when sanity returns and our businesses can open, because we cannot continue like this as a society. It will break down. So I'm just praying that this passes and we get through it all. And I know we will. So thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Hang tough. I know it's tough on everybody. Great job. District 4, Chris Corey. And Chris, welcome to the council.
One thing that's of concern to people in District 4, many have relatives who are in the medical field, whether they're nurses, practitioners, and so forth. One unintended consequence of getting ready to deal with COVID-19 has been the fact that elective and non-emergency procedures are no longer being carried on at the hospital. Many of these hospitals are dependent upon that revenue to keep their nursing staff employed. And nurses around the country are being furloughed out of the hospitals because the hospitals are not generating the revenues, nor are the nursing staffing organizations. So in a sense, the frontline workers responsible for dealing with this crisis are being penalized by the fact that who employs them are not getting the revenues that they need to stay alive. I just wish and hope that we can pay attention to this situation, offer encouragement to those responsible for our hospitals, our nursing staffing organizations, and so forth, and tell them that, you know, we need to limit the amount of economic damage we're doing to those that we're going to rely on to help get us through this crisis. There has to be a better way to manage this than putting these people on furlough and telling them they're not going to get a paycheck. So that's my thought. That's a lot of talk within Bonita Bay and other parts of my district, and it's an unfortunate situation.
Thank you, Chris. District 5, Mike Gibson.
Yeah, no, I echo what Amy said, and you know, just concerns going on. I only had a brief second to read the email from Ann Wright about the potential budget shortfalls because of the with everything being basically turned off. We're not collecting sales tax, gas tax, things like that. So I just want to find out what we're doing to kind of combat that shortfall, and also just you know, be mindful of other unintended consequences, like with the dog park closed. We're seeing a lot more people walking their dogs through the band shell area and the Lyle's Hotel area. You know, even though there's, you know, no dogs allowed signs up there. But from what I've seen, most people are practicing social distancing as much as possible. You know, there's a few instances here and there that you see that they're not, but you know, I think you're going to get that with anything. And you know, I think we just need to do the best that we can, and you know, I think we are. And thank you to staff. I know you guys are working extra hard with everything that's going on. This definitely isn't the easiest thing, doing the virtual meetings and everything else. And I know you guys are having a hard time and probably working many more hours than you really wanted to. So thank you, and keep up the good work, and we much appreciate it. Thanks.
Great. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Gibson. District 6, Councilman Fred Forbes.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Good, okay. Number one, I want to welcome Jesse and Chris to the team of 7 now. We're back to 7. I too have been sending out information to people I know in the HOAs and all that. I talked with John Jenkins today, and he wants everybody to know the Bonita Springs utility is functioning very much as the city is. They do have an open drive-through window where anybody that wants to drop something off can do that. And they are operating, anybody that needs to get a hold of somebody, they can call and work will be done if you have a problem and all that. The other thing I want to do is praise the staff because they really are putting in a lot of hard hours, and it's very stressful, sometimes thankless. And I just hope that all this stops pretty soon, but I think we're in for a little more of a tough slog. It's going to get worse before it gets better, I believe.
Right.
And I do feel for the small business people, and I want them to be open as soon as they can be. And I'm all for helping them with any government red tape that we can to get their rescue package money.
Thank you, Fred. Thank you very much. And I obviously concur with everything that's been said. Our team's been doing a great job, and they always do, but you really find out what people are made of in times like this. And every member of council, our new members of council, and our staff, thank you very much. I wanted to actually read some information, and we have gone over it, but I wanted to, hopefully for anybody that may have come into this meeting late, obviously Governor Ron DeSantis has issued an executive order number 20-91, which is essential services and activities during the COVID-19 emergency. The Safer at Home order states that all persons in Florida shall limit their movements and personal interactions outside of their home to only those necessary to obtain essential services or conduct essential activities for the next 30 days. To read the executive order in its entirety, and it's quite lengthy, so it can help you if you have trouble nodding off to sleep. You can visit the city website at www.cityofbonitasprings.org to get the executive order. This order has also been e-blasted to our residents of Bonita Springs and shared on the city media platforms. Obviously, COVID-19 has changed our lives. I think that's a bit of an understatement, but certainly not an overreaction either. Its impact is unprecedented and will long be felt by everyone. Our community has taken significant and early actions over the past few weeks to combat the COVID-19 pandemic, but we all know additional measures are needed to protect each other and our healthcare system. We are faced with a new territory, a pandemic virus that everyone is susceptible to, and we are doing our best to keep our community and our residents safe. These are challenging and confusing times, but there is one very clear solution to beat in reducing the spread of COVID-19 in our community. Stay home. Not a lot of fun, although that is what we need to do at this time. We need to stay home. And ask yourself, do I need to go to the store or do I want to go to the store? There's a big difference there. And obviously we all need to go to the store, but cut down on the number of visits that we go. And certainly your actions are critical. These, even reducing our daily trips, factor whatever number you want, it will obviously help exponentially. Your actions are obviously very critical in helping us reduce the spread of COVID-19. Your decision to stay home will save lives. Please do your part and stay home whenever possible. We will be sharing some additional economic resource information through our e-blast tomorrow on Thursday, and you can also view that information on our website. The United Way 211 can also help point individuals to current resources available in our community. The United Way COVID-19 Community Economic Relief Fund can help you find assistance for bills, rent, and food. You can contact them by dialing 211 or 239-433-3900. Once again, either dial 211 or 239-433-3900. You can also find links to resources such as past due rent, assistance, and unemployment. We're all in this together, and it's by working together that we can slow the spread and beat this. You matter, your families matter, and our neighbors matter. Your doctors, nurses, and caretakers need you to stay at home and ride this out. Your actions will make the difference in this. You can be the difference and part of the solution in this unprecedented event. Please stay home as much as possible. So with that, I want to open it back up if other members of council had anything else they wanted to add. Was that Laura? Yes, Laura.
I just wanted to say the folks who are tagging our bridges and tagging our city, shame on you. When we catch you, we'll shame you in public. And the folks who stole the canoe downtown, shame on you too. It's not what we should be doing at this crisis time in our city. So be good citizens. God bless, go strong. Bonita, thank you.
Laura, for that. And like I said, during tough times, you find out the true character of people. So thank you for adding that. Amy, did you have something? I'm sorry.
No, I'm just fine. I just wish everyone well and keep on what you're doing. I think we're doing very good things in our city, and I'm proud of every citizen that is complying with these orders that we're getting almost daily. Well, it'd be interesting to know what happened at Lee. Did Lee have a meeting at 4 o'clock? Do we have any report on that? Or we have to wait?
I know Commissioner Sandelli tried to call me a few minutes ago. Obviously, I couldn't take the call, so I
we'll
will
get it
back and disseminate any information that I received.
Okay.
Eric, have you heard how the meeting went?
I didn't hear how the meeting went. I did talk to senior management at the county right before the meeting to see if there was anything we needed to do, coordinate with them. And they had indicated that they were going to issue some kind of additional advisory, but then that got superseded by the governor's action. So they were just going to have the meeting in order to talk and see what additional things they could do. So I think it was just an informational meeting.
Okay. Very good. Thank you for that. Anybody else? If not, we'll move on to the approval of the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Is there further discussion on approval of the minutes? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Carr,
Aye.
Mayor Simmons,
Aye.
Councilman Corey, Councilman Gibson,
Aye.
Councilman Forbes,
Aye.
Councilwoman Carumba,
Aye.
Councilman Purdon.
Great. And Laura, did we, or anybody, did we receive any other public comments during the meeting?
There have been no other public comments submitted at this point.
Okay. Anything else for the good of the order? Anybody? Arlene, did you have anything else?
Yes, Mayor, I did just receive a message from former Councilwoman Martha Simon. She was asking about the folks who are not in HOAs, and how we're communicating with them, and also our Hispanic population. All of the information we're providing regular on all of our social media platforms as well. So the updates that we provided that Councilmember Purdon discussed were updates that we provided that he additionally on his own forwarded to his HOA, and similar to how Councilwoman Carumba has done. So the same information that goes to the HOAs will also be on all of our media platforms. At our local parks, where we have provided the social distancing guidelines from the CDC, we have posted all of that in English and Spanish. And I'll work with Laura about additional messaging in Spanish as well.
Okay.
The only other update I have is as of 1:55 p.m., just so that everyone's aware, we have 212 positive cases in Lee County, 23 in Bonita, and there was 150 in Collier and there'll be another additional update this evening from the Department of Health.
Okay, so then the number obviously in Bonita Springs is going up. It was 6, and now it's up to 23.
Correct.
We also
Currently,
have public comment when you're ready. That one did come through just now.
Sure, and on one of our calls, on one of my conference calls, it was a question, so I'm just throwing it out. Does anybody when somebody is reported as having the coronavirus, obviously that will trigger a number. When they go through the 14 days and then they no longer have it, or it has been resolved, and they are no longer testing positive for that, how do the statistics readjust? I don't know that that's necessarily critical, but I've been asked a couple of times, you know, a lot of numbers, but when somebody is cured or unfortunately goes to heaven, how are the numbers disseminated, or how, you know? So that 23, let's just say in 2 weeks, the incubation runs it, and those people are cured. Will that number then be 0, or will that number still be 23?
From what I understand, what they're counting with these numbers is the actual positive test kits. So you're hearing that there's a positive of 23. I think how they're measuring the downticks is that each time as they go up, eventually the number of positives will hopefully start to slow. But I'm not aware of how they're tracking the folks who are then cured in that end.
Okay. Thank you for that. Matt, did you have anything to add?
No, just Laura had mentioned there was a public comment that came in, so you might want to flip to her.
Well, that's great. I just wanted to, okay, Dynamite. Yes, Laura.
Okay, so the public comment is from Bill Simons, and it says, Council, please, BSU, I think he means, Council, please ask BSU if we can have a grace period on paying water bill. So that's the only public comment that we've received.
Council?
Laura?
Yes, Fred.
Yeah, they will work with customers, but they got to bring in documentation or get it through the drive-through window that they have a problem, but they are working with them, and it's going to be on a case-by-case basis. I talked to John Jenkins about that today.
Mayor, I did want to add that the mayor and I have received communication from our correspondent FP&L, and they are also going to be working with folks as well. And I also heard from CenturyLink that they will be working with folks as well, individually.
Great. Thank you. Anybody, for the good of the order, have anything to add or additional comments? We've added a lot, but any last thoughts or last comments? Did we want to make a decision on weekly meetings, or do we want to talk offline with Arlene, or what do we want to do about that?
I'd
I
like
think
to hear
offline.
offline, but I'd also like to hear from Arlene. Maybe she wants to get back to us about what her thoughts on that. I think it would be good for the city, for the people, to know that we're working and hoping and trying to improve the situation, just from a comfort kind of thing. I think it's reassuring to hear the messages like what the mayor just gave us, and just to reiterate that we're all in this together, and we're just, even if we repeat it, we can't repeat it enough, that they need to stay the course. But I'd like to hear Arlene's opinion.
Okay, Laura, I know you had a comment.
Just real quick, I really think that your point was very important, that what about the recovery? I think that's very important information for people. So we do a statistics that it's not like it's just growing. Those 23 people recovered. And it would be helpful if the deaths were put into context also. Were there underlying issues? So that would be very helpful to know. So I love your point of, let's have some recovery information. That's good news. It's not a death. Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson, they're back in America, they're fine, they're feeling great, supposedly, I don't know them. But anyway, I like that we try to get information on recovery points.
Well, I mean, and I can just say, for example, I know of one case. I do know one person in Bonita Springs that has tested positive for the coronavirus. However, they're better. Okay, they've had a temperature for 10 days, fought through it when the temperature was no longer there, went in for a test, tested positive, but is better. So it's one of these things where I don't want to anybody, I'm famous for saying things the wrong way, but let me try to, yes, this is beyond serious, obviously. However, we need to deliver good news on the other end as well. And I know that we probably all share that. I don't want to just fear forever. People are staying in place, they're being responsible, and we will continue to fight and make sure that that happens. But like Laura said, when somebody recovers, we need to report that too. And I know we'll get there, but I think it's very important for people not just to hear all the bad news all the time. We'll give them the bad news and we'll give them, the unfortunate statistics, but we need to give them the recovery and good news statistics as well. And I will dig deeper into that with the mayors and the county commission so I'll spearhead that up to see what we're doing along those lines. Arlene.
Yes, Mayor and Council, let us work a little bit with Derek, and maybe these meetings we could look more as a workshop form. It would help us a little bit with advertising and presentation and understanding our public comment portion a little bit better. So we're kind of in the clear of the sunshine as well. What we could do is we could be doing some outreach to some folks to do a virtual presentation to you on current conditions. If we do that, I think we also should invite someone from either the EOC or we also should invite someone from the Horizon Council or Tiffany from our Economic Development Council to kind of give us some updates on resources, maybe help do some tutorials or walkthroughs of what can be done for the small businesses so they understand their processes, but and maybe also use it as additional PSA time as well. So let me talk with the staff and how we advertise it or how we do that. It might give us a little bit more ability to function if it's still a public meeting, but more of a workshop form, and then keep your regular council meeting for your action items. We also might be able to bring forward some more looks at the budget during that time too. But I'll let Derek weigh in on formatting wise.
Thank you, Arlene. And as Jesse so famously says, Rooney, what are your thoughts?
No, I think that's a good idea. It's, from what I've heard from all the council members today, it sounds like it's more of a informational meeting. If there are action items that need to come out of it, we will have a meeting the next week to take those actions. So I think that's probably easier for staff to put together. We don't have to be as concerned about public comments. Obviously, the public can still submit electronic comments, but we don't have to try to incorporate that. It doesn't become, the 3 days of work that staff worked very hard to put this together. They're able to keep working on other items in the meantime. It's more of a informal workshop setting.
Right. No, I think that's great. So do we need, what then I get what we'll solve that to be solved, but I think we know the direction that we're heading. So I like that.
Yes, Mayor, we have direction, and let us work internally on that and how that agenda looks. And I'll work with Derek on that and staff. But I think if you could give us direction to make these more of an informational workshop, that gives us a little bit more flexibility on how we present the information to you. And then, of course, reserve any action items in a green sheet for the next meeting for the next week.
Councilman Corey, you brought this up, and obviously I think it's a great idea. Would that format be agreeable with you?
Sure. I think it's the idea that it would be informational, getting the information out to the public, taking back their concerns, getting an update from the medical community, At some point, I think we need to also invite our business community to tell how this is affecting them, so that we can ultimately get around to seeing if we need to adopt policies that somehow benefit our business community. I don't know what they are yet, but yeah, I think we need to have a vehicle where they can feel like they can participate in this whole process as well.
Great. Arlene, does that give you enough?
Yes, sir. We have enough direction.
Okay. Anything else for the good of the order? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mayor, the last update I just wanted to provide is that Derek and Carly have worked on updating the city charter to include all of the provisions from the most recent election, and they'll be incorporated on Muni Code. So we're moving forward with that process as well.
True. Right. Absolutely. And every one of those passed, it not only just passed, but passed significantly.
Correct. They did.
So thank you to the former members of the Charter Review Commission, Councilman Purdon and Councilman Corey. So great work. Every one of your items passed. So very good. Last call for anybody. Otherwise, a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved. Okay. There's been a motion and a second. We are adjourned. God bless everybody. Stay safe.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.